Okay. All right, good evening. Of course, everything that happens b'hashgacha pratis, and certainly when things happen, mamish, out of the when things happen out of the ordinary, unexpectedly, on short notice, obviously everything is b'hashgacha pratis. And it so happens that this week is Parshas Emor, and we know that Parshas Emor begins with the idea Emor v'amarto. Rashi tells us lahazir gedolim al ktanim, that the idea behind Emor v'amarto is that there is an obligation for the adult kohanim to educate and guide the younger kohanim. And of course, Chassidus interprets that statement of lahazir gedolim al ktanim, at the word lahazir is meloshen zoyhar, to illuminate, to give light and guidance, to illuminate the lives of the young ones, and that is the obligation of the adults in the lives of the youth with whom they are in contact, whether it is their children or the students. It is incumbent upon the adults to illuminate the lives of our students. We also know that it is a reciprocal relationship in the extent that lahazir gedolim, what happens is that the adults become illuminated. How do they become illuminated? Ala ktanim, through the efforts that they place in educating and guiding the ktanim. It causes an illumination, it causes an upliftment and elevation to the adults as well. So last week it came to our attention at the end of Pesach that there is a master mechanech that finds himself in the United States. Generally he's in Eretz HaKodesh, and for him to come and be here would, first of all, we didn't know that there was such a metzias of Rabbi Segal. But b'hashgacha pratis, there's a young man that's here in Los Angeles, also wasn't necessarily planning on being here, but he ended up here, and he ended up spending Pesach here, and he met with Rabbi Reichik and myself, and he mentioned to us and showed us this video clip which have been disseminated actually, and we're going to be seeing the entire clip soon. And we were able to pull off within a week's, less than a week's notice, tonight's event with Rav Segal. Over the course of the day today, Rav Segal came and spoke at Beis Chai Mushka, he spoke at the seminary, he spoke at Cheder Menachem, and then he spoke in Yeshiva Al Chan Chabad. And from what I've heard from those other meisters, and from what I heard at Cheder itself, we have a lot to learn and a lot to gain from Rav Segal, and we thank him for schlepping out to California literally for the day, to spend the day with the mechanchim and with parents here in the city. And without further ado, I introduce Harav Avram Mordechai Segal.
Thank you. Okay, a good Chodesh, and a good evening, and a good Zumel to everybody. The last time I was in Los Angeles, here in this Besmelish, was 20 years ago. I was there to meet Rabbi Reichik and his Choshe, my mother. Mishpacha Shtikel, Ronen, who's my secretary, was in here, he's in California, and was the mitavech, the mediator. And we thank the Rabboni Shalom for the opportunity to be together tonight and be oisik in this gewaldige suge from Chinuch. To get things moving, after all the Akdamas, we wanted to come out different tonight. I was in Eretz Yisrael in Yerushalayim a while ago. I met a mechanech from Bet Shemesh, and he tells me a moridik story, a fascinating story. He tells me he's flying to Germany, to München. He's giving out a book on his father. His father's name was Reb Shimon Benish. Anybody read the book from Sarah Schneer? Pearl Benish gave out a book, Su'uni Belibchem, Carry Me in Your Heart. It's her husband. And he was a Yid that I think lived up to something like 97, passed away a couple of years ago. And his children, which are mechanchim, are giving out a book. And the reason why they're giving out the book to be mansiach, to keep on the legacy, how their father was able, he was in the ghetto in Lodz, he was in Auschwitz, he was one of not too many survivors from Auschwitz. And after the wartime, he was in different camps in Germany. Kopring, Landsberg, and over there they were working, making bunkers for the Germans against the Allies that were bombing them. And they decided when they're giving out this book who their father was and how he was able to struggle with all the Nisyonis in the concentration camps. They decided that they have to see live the place. They traveled to Lodz, they traveled to Auschwitz, and they were holding the last part of the book now, and I saw the pictures of the bunkers over there. And they traveled to München to go to this place and be able to photograph the place, feel the place. And someone asks him a question. He asks him, how can one go back to Germany today with so much Yiddish blit? How could you go to Auschwitz, to all these places? How could you step on that earth? And he says, I'm going to tell you the answer. He says, as I was flying this flight to München, sat next to me a Freie Yid. I think in Chabad they don't say Freie, you say a Yid was noch schon gekommen zu Yiddishkeit. There's a psalosh how you say it. So he's on the derech, and he's sitting next to him, and he asks him, how does a frumma person, what do you have to do in Germany? So he tells him about the book that he's giving out. And he's telling all excited about his book and the reason. And then, after they get a little, acquainted, he asks him, and what are you're talking out of from, but what are you doing in München? He says, come on, you don't know what's going on today in München? You don't read the news? You don't know what's going on in the media? He says, no, I know what's going on in Chol Yom Yebenecha Kechadoshim, Torah. He says, today is a soccer game, Israel against München. Come on, where are you living today? Okay. So he said, I don't know. So he says, I'm flying to see the game. So he tells him, okay, I understand sports, Tarbus Yovin is very important for you. But what I see is two little kids next to you, one on your right and one on your left. Are they also going to the game? He says, sure, they're going to the game. And I don't understand, they don't have school? Sure, they have school. This is school. I want them to see the game. So he says, I don't understand. You give out another $2,000, the kids should see the game, they cannot see it on the media in Eretz Yisrael? He says, come on, you don't understand the sports and soccer. I'm going to say it in Hebrew the way he said it, and I'm going to translate it in English. Ani rotze shem yachushu et hamishchak. I want they should feel the game, internalize the game. They should breathe the game. Should see it live. That was important for this Freie person. So he told me that was a murdik insight for him. When I want to give over what my father went through, to give over what the struggling from a Yid was to give amol, I want to feel the thing. I want to see it. I want to live it. I want to be able to internalize it, to be able to give it over to the next door in my book. I think this insight brings me to what I'm trying to do tonight with this $60,000 presentation, which I put in so much money into it, because I think there's nothing more powerful. If we want to be megadol, okay? We be megadol kids, and we want to be metzliach chinuch with our children, with our talmidim, we have to know how to listen. So we came here tonight not to talk about listening, but lachush, to feel what means to listen to a child, and what happens when you don't listen to a child. A picture's more than 1,000 words. And that is why no lecture in the world could compete with seeing a live presentation. And that's why I go around, and I'm going to show it in the convention in Torah Masorah and all over the world. And today it's your chance in LA. So we're going to see a 52-minute presentation. There's every word, every picture, every doimim tzomeach speaks for itself. There's messages that are somewhere, are hidden, embedded, but our right hemisphere is going to catch them because they catch pictures. There are messages which are golui, which you're going to see it's very, very open and very brought out. Whatever it is, you are going home different today, no question about it. So since we're talking about listening, let's all turn off our cell phones and give us the 52 minutes ki gematria ben. And we want to, Mir Hashem, connect with our children, and go out different. We are going to go into the world of our children, okay? All the actors are from our community, from Chabad. I teach in Mechlelet Beit Rivka, and I use top actors, a lot of them Bali Tshuva, which were top actors in Eretz Yisrael before they were Chayze B'Tshuva. They all deal in chinuch today, and they all are living through this. What we see here is now live, and emistic what we meet every day, and everybody has a shaykhis to this. Are we ready? I just asked, no one should photostat it. It's a private thing. Internalize it in your minds, and in Mir Hashem, time left afterwards, either we'll take questions, or if you want, I can explain to you different tools and techniques about how we could make better our listening with our children. We're going to turn off the lights. We need black. It should be dark as possible, that everybody can get touched emotionally.
Where's the confession? What? Where's the confession?
Did you introduce it already?
What?
Should I turn this off now?
Yeah, you can.